your attention. If you've been watching the tournament and want to follow Dota 2 on Twitter, you can at Dota 2. That was pretty simple, right? Also, if you've got anything to say and you just want to join the conversation, you can write what you want, and also hashtag Dota2TI. And that's where we're reading. And also some of our interviewers will be reading the at Dota 2 and also the hashtags, and maybe you'll get a question into an interview later. So make sure you follow it, and it's going to be awesome. So next game coming up is going to be DK versus Zenith. It's our final game today. It's still a best of one, so we can still lose one team. It's going to be hard to kind of predict who's going to lose this game. And I don't know, guys. It's a real tough matchup because DK, they haven't been as strong as maybe some of the other teams from Asia. Zenith as well, quite unpredictable.
Yeah, to me it's DK who haven't been playing amazingly, but they do have a clear defined strategy. It's been fairly successful.
Is it
Zenith,
called burning?
It's burning. It's team burning.
It's pretty heavily team
burning. I don't know if we can say that. It's kind of in, well,
no,
yeah.
It's not fair. The rest of DK are very good players. You're kidding yourself if you think it's all
Zenith
burning.
are kind of a polar opposite though. They have a heap of skill. They're really talented players. All of them playing fairly well so far this tournament, but their strategies have been a bit all over the place. They haven't really defined what they want to do with their picks and bans.
All right, then. So we'll see what happens a little bit later when they get into the game. But for now, let's go to an interview with DK.
好，各位观众朋友们，大家好，我是精灵。那 DK 战队的话，也是刚刚结束了一场非常精彩的比赛，但是即将到来的是 DK 要迎战 Zenith 了。那目前站在我身边的这一名选手呢，是来自于 DK 战队的 Super， 你好。
大家好，我是 DK 战队的 Super。
那应该说也是历经了小组赛和2天的线下淘汰大赛。那 Super， 你个人感觉相比较在中国的一些线下比赛中，这样 DOTA 的国际竞赛是最大的感受以及区别在哪里呢？
最大的感觉应该是这里的比赛环境跟国内的比赛专业程度有一定的差别，还有就是想赢的心这里更重吧。
好的。那么在接下去的比赛中，由于 Super 我也知道你是担任中路 solo 的一个非常重要的位置，那同样的在 Zenith 战队中的 SSS 就是三兵，他同样也会打中路 solo。那么你觉得对阵这样一名选手，你的这个打法或者说能否简单评述一下对方的选手呢？
他的打法是比较凶狠，然后基本功都很扎实的一个选手。我跟他对上的话，都要看手感吧。如果手感好的话，应该是5-5。
好的。那么 DK 战队的话，Super 有没有什么话想要对粉丝们说，以及关注这场比赛的国际观众说？
希望大家可以继续支持 DK 不会让你们失望的。
好，那也是感谢 Super 的采访。那希望 DK 能够一帆风顺，谢谢。
Okay, then, so they want everybody to continue to support them. They won't let you down. We'll see if that's going to be the case. DK had to beat Dara yesterday to go through the lower bracket, and then Tong Fu. And, of course, now they're up against Zenith, but let's meet the 5 members.
Burning, Anhui, China.
Long DD, Hulan, China. ROTK, 陕西 China.
Super, 广东 China.
Zippo, 湖南 China.
Okay, then, so guys, who's playing big for this team?
I mean, we talked about Burning a lot, but I think it's really an overstatement to just say that Burning is the whole team. I think Burning is definitely the edge of the sword that they sharpen all game, but it's really built through Super, ROTK. I mean, really everybody on this team has a hand in making sure that he is literally as strong as he can possibly be.
Yeah, Super's been playing a lot of Invoker throughout this tournament, mostly on that solo mid role with some various other heroes as well, and he's been a bit of an unsung hero. He's really played well throughout the tournament, definitely a player to watch out for. And something to also be of note is that DK actually beat Zenith 2-0 during the group stages back in the first day, and that's going to give him a big boost to their confidence going up against Zenith once again.
All right, then, Bruno, anything we should look out for with DK, or did he just steal your stat?
That was my stat, but no. We have something.
More.
Yeah, we have something.
I never
Barney is
expected
currently
you to run
second
out.
for kills and third for more GPM. So if he has a great match or two, he might get into the top 1 spot.
Okay, so we'll see how they do. And, of course, they're going up versus Zenith, and we have a pre-game interview with Loda.
Hey, guys, this is Purge, and I'm here with Zenith's Loda. How are you doing, man?
I'm fine. I'm a bit tired, but I'm starting to get into the mood for the game, so everything's good.
All right, first question from another special interviewer. What is up with the hat? I'm sure all the viewers want to know.
I think because I have 0 hair underneath the hat, actually. I have a big bald spot underneath, so it would just be awkward to walk around without the hat.
So what's all this stuff by your ears that we're looking at? Is that all just fake, just to really enhance the mood?
Yeah, exactly. I thought I would get away without that question coming up, actually. So I think there's actually some pictures from the after party when I actually took off the hat, but you have to Google it, I think.
All right, we'll go scrounge those up later. So you're up against DK pretty soon here. How do you think you're going to perform as a team?
I think if we focus on our own game, focus on our own lineup, just decide to not make them, just make sure they don't put us outside our comfort zone. We're going to win the game, but it's going to be a tough game, but we're going to win it.
Did you have enough time to review replays and look at their strategies and things like that, or were they one of the other teams that you hit in some of the other practice sessions?
We've practiced them a lot, actually, and we both know each other quite a lot. We both know the counters both teams usually use to counter certain heroes and so on, so I think it's going to be quite a standard game.
All right, great. Well, thanks for the interview. Good luck tonight, and back to you, James.
All right, thank you, Purge. Let's throw it straight to the lineup then as these guys are getting ready to go. So here's the team of Zenith.
Singapore.
Ice, ice, ice. Singapore.
Loda, Gothenburg, Sweden.
X Freedom. Singapore.
XY. Singapore.
All right, sorry about that, HY. I think I spoke over your name. So the team of Zenith, they played a little bit earlier, and of course that was versus LGD, and they lost. So they've had a long time to wait to actually go into this game, one of the longest times. So hopefully they've still got the energy to do it. We'll go to predictions here at the panel before we throw it to the match. Nebula?
I'm going to pick Zenith, and actually Loda has just given... That's the best knowledge and the best strategy I've heard all day. I need to buy a hat. Holy crap, I never even thought of that. Yeah.
You can also find other interesting pictures of Loda on the internet if you have a look, but okay, that's not just the ones where he's not wearing a hat.
I'm going to go with Zenith here as well. I feel they definitely a team who have been playing a bit better.
All right, two for Zenith. Bruno, make some sense of this.
Wreck this game. He'll have an amazing game, and DK will win.
All right, then it seems almost a sensible answers from everybody. So we'll leave it at that. And of course, this is the last game today at day 2 here at the International Dota 2 Championships. We're going to throw it over to our commentators. Enjoy the match. Remember, the loser, unfortunately, is out of the tournament. The winner will move into top 4 and play tomorrow. It's DK versus Zenith. Over to the commentators.
And the last hours of day number 2 of the International are beginning to come to a close. We have 3 teams remaining from our last 4 lower bracket matches, and that number is about to shrink to 2. 2 of the most popular teams, Draskell, Zenith and DK, about to square off. The picks and the bans have been going for a couple of minutes now, and I think when they pop up, the crowd's going to be quite pleased at what they see. Second picked by DK.
Well, we already see Darkseer for DK. We already have Shadow Demon, Morphling, Invoker as well for Zenith. And I mean, Anti-Mage already for Burning. I mean, in his hands, we've seen what kind of a monster that hero can become. Already one of the best flash farmers in the game. But in his hands, it's something to see. But on the bright side, I mean, Zenith does have a Shadow Demon. He's excellent against Anti-Mage. You can disrupt, make him blink pretty much every single time if he doesn't want to get his own mana burned by those illusions. But of course, partner with a Darkseer too. I mean, it's going to be a tall order for Zenith to take a late game against an Anti-Mage and a Seer.
Zenith, of course, has always, well, not always, but of late has represented the crossroads between Eastern and Western Dota. And I think we see that quite well here in the third pick of the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon, not that he's never played by the Asian teams, but it's much more rare than what we see out of the Western teams. A very high-value hero that is occasionally first banned and first picked by a lot of Western teams. Going to be coming out for Zenith here. And he just gives you so much in lane, no matter where you want to put him. You can play him defensively, you can play him offensively, and more than anything, especially when you're talking about a possible tri-lane focused on that Morphling, if you pick up some kind of hard stunner to go with him, say a Sand King, say even a Kunkka, anything like that to follow up the disruption, and then you have the waveform in, not only can he keep Morphling safe, but he can set up a lot of early game kills that are going to give you that mid-game dominance you want. On DK's side, Darkseer managed to survive all the way to the 3rd pick. How often do we actually see that happen? And of course, Anti-Mage, gonna be handled by Burning, no doubt about it, and Rubik, who in retrospect, when all is said and done, may go down as the most important and influential hero throughout the entire International.
He's just been picked constantly, maybe even picked almost as much as Morphling, if not just completely banned out in the first 6. But like you said, going to see Darkseer, going to see AM, and Darkseer even against a Shadow Demon is still okay. Shadow Demon can purge off Surge, things like that. He can apply Soul Catcher, lets you kill those otherwise very, very tanky heroes. But on the other hand, he needs to be careful about what he uses because Rubik can steal pretty much anything that he wants from this lineup so far. Waveform and Morph being the most notable of the two, and we're going to see a TA out of DK as well, so that's going to be their mid pretty much for sure. Likely going to see a support Rubik with an Anti-Mage +1 tri-lane, maybe a jungler, maybe not, because we already see that everything basically that jungles is banned aside from the Enigma. But I mean, mid-game, DK still has a lot of aggression potential. Darkseer lets you do team fights that you wouldn't normally be able to because of the fact that you can surge in and out, you can vacuum, and the hero's just overall ridiculously strong. Rubik's kind of in the same boat, but he's going to be supporting, so it's not as important. TA, though, against an Invoker mid, unless it's Exort, I mean, TA, we've seen it before. I don't remember what matchup it was particularly, but they had like 3 times the CS of the Invoker that she was against. So she is a lane dominator, can get full rune control because of the way her traps work once she gets 6, and basically just going to be looking to be all over the map.
There's that Sand King pickup, Draskell. Predicted it. Sand King, Shadow Demon, Morphling in a tri-lane. There is so much kill potential based on what is thrown against you. Even a Darkseer, if he is indeed going to be running the tri-lane, or excuse me, against the tri-lane, is susceptible to that kind of stun follow-up and, of course, the nuke damage. But I'll tell you what we've been seeing more and more often is a lot of teams will just start Darkseer out in the jungle. They won't even worry about putting him against the tri-lane, and they'll just say, you know what, you can have free farm. I want to make sure that I get my levels early on, then maybe I'll show up in lane if I feel like you're pressuring the tower a little too much. Little bit of a problem, though. Whenever you're talking about giving free farm to anything, you have to worry about burning. Burning, of course, is everyone's going to have their eyes on that. So, Tidehunter, the last pick up from DK, still awaiting the 5th pick from Zenith.
Morphling is actually okay against Anti-Mage in a lot of situations. The one difference between the two heroes is that Anti-Mage just farms faster. I mean, simply put, if he gets a relatively fast Battle Fury, which I'm sure he will, as you said, being handled by Burning, it's going to help him a lot in terms of split push. But let's also keep in mind that Replicate is very strong, plus they're going to have 2 more illusions to worry about coming out from Shadow Demon. It's actually quite an annoyance for an Anti-Mage to play against those 2 particular heroes because of the fact that you can get your mana burned, and mana is basically your lifeblood in the early parts of the game. It gives you mobility, allows you to play aggressive where other heroes simply can't because they don't have that increased mobility from the Blink Dagger. We're also going to see a Lone Druid as well from Zenith. So they're going to have Lone Druid and Morphling doing a double carry role as well like we saw last game, but instead of a CK, they're going to go with the Bear, so this could be their long laner.
I just want to go back to something you said last game, Draskell. And in between games, you and I had a brief conversation. Just want to reiterate it, because not only does this play into that, but I think it was such a beautiful observation, really important observation. It has become so common to see Asian teams doing this in particular, picking up not just one carry like you usually see, but going with a dedicated off carry. And in cases like Zenith, it's not even an off carry. It's just 2 of the strongest carries in the game in Lone Druid and, of course, the Morphling. We are going to see Loda playing on Druid. We'll run through the rest of the lineup shortly. Burning, no doubt about it, running on Anti-Mage. And it's going to have TA as the off carry in this situation. We'll start right there. Burning our Anti-Mage as predicted. Zippo going to be back on Tide. We saw him play Tide in his previous game. They were out here on stage just hours ago. Super going to be handling TA. Super, of course, their mid specialist, no doubt about it. Long DD, one of the most electrifying players in Dota 2, especially when he's on a support that can have a big impact like Rubik. We'll keep an eye on him. And Darkseer going to be played by ROTK. On the other side of the river, Ice Cubed going to be handling Invoker in mid. Lone Druid, as mentioned, played by Loda. X-Freedom going to be playing our Shadow Demon. HY handling Morphling. And XY going to be playing our Sand King.
Looking the way the lanes are shaping up, looks like Zenith wants to do a tri-lane with their Sand King Shadow Demon. And of course, we knew that it was going to be a tri-lane, just wasn't sure where it was going to be. So they're prioritizing Loda in terms of the lane. They're going to give him the safest spot possible, which is going to be top. And it's going to be aggressive try versus defensive try. And we've seen this time and time again. It's all down to execution. If Zenith can't get anything done with these two support heroes, they're going to be extremely under-leveled, under-farmed. And that's really the one thing that you just can't have happen. HY is still he'll be able to farm quite well, I might add, and because of the fact that it's going to be a Lone Druid versus a Darkseer top, he's one of the few heroes who can actually contend with that because of the way the bear works and because he's obviously ranged. Doesn't have to worry about the Ion Shell as much, but there's going to be a lot of pressure early game on Zenith to make sure that this bottom lane succeeds.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's real scary. We've seen a few people try to run an aggressive try against an aggressive or a defensive try against DK with burning on Animage. Almost every time we saw it, it has failed miserably. Not just due to the instincts and the skill of burning, but again, long DD. This guy, when he's on a support, especially one like Rubik, who has high-powered spells that can influence and manipulate the positions of enemy units, especially when you're talking about a Windrunner or even an Earthshaker. He is just so good. Put that with burning, and Zenith is going to have to play very careful because at this point, even if burning dies once, it's a big deal, but it's not the end of the world. But when you're running an aggressive try, you do not have room for error. You do not have room to take a death. Otherwise, the threat of the aggressive try lane just evaporates as you see that little lead grow bigger and bigger as more time wears on.
The one nice thing about Zenith's tri-lane is the fact that they are going to have an Exort Invoker, Ice 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 choosing to go for Sunstrike pretty much straight away to add a little bit more to the gank potential of bottom lane. It's also going to help him CS against Super. The one downside, though, as we can see it right now, is just the fact that Psionic Blades are very, very annoying to play against. He took quite a bit of harassment damage just from last hitting coming out of Super. So eventually, I mean, TA is still going to get a little bit ahead in this lane, and he just needs to be able to defend himself by not having poor positioning.
Taking a look at the early CS, Morphling's actually getting the better of things right now, sitting on 7 to the 3 of Anti-Mage. Still very early, only so much knowledge we can glean from that. Loda doing quite well as well. Up in top lane, he's sitting on 8. Darkseer at just 2 with 2 denies. And this is going to be one of those games that can be cracked open right here. XY caught out. He's looking for a Burrow Strike to get him to safety. He's not going to get it off. Burning was down there anyway. Even if he had burrowed to the low ground, it would not have mattered. Burning with that great movement gets the job. Well, actually, he didn't get the job done, but he would have been in position to do so. Unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately for him, Zippo and Long DD were able to seal the deal all on their own.
Definitely the start that DK wants. I mean, even getting 1 kill opens up more room for Burning to be able to get his CS, and because it happens so early, that Sand King's going to be suffering a lot. Now he's going to be level 1 for even longer. He already has 1 death on his hands. That's a kill going to his support, who's going to be able to buy more wards, buy any support items that he might want for the early game, and keep Burning safe. And this is kind of this playstyle that DK always does. It's protect Burning as long as you can. Apply pressure when you can, but never overextend. Always capitalize on your advantage and play defensive until you know for a fact that you can take team fights and ultimately push down towers and win the game. So, I mean, that plays perfectly into what their game plan is.
And this is exactly what Zenith couldn't afford to have happen. Just look at their positioning. Before they were out in the jungle, they were ready to try and assert their dominance. Now they have to spend a lot more time spinning it back towards their tower. They're going to have to be a lot more cautious coming out. It is a good thing that it was XY that died as opposed to HY or even Freedom. Those two are really the two essential ones, as a level 1 Burrow Strike is often good enough to follow up a Disruption. But when you're talking about the potency of this tri-lane, 1 death has really, really hurt them, and they cannot afford a second. And we've seen this time and time again, not just out of these teams in particular, but when you have 1 death, it's bad. When it's 2, hang on. Zenith wants to get back on the board. Oh, beautiful timing on the Sunstrike. Zippo's going to drop. Burning is going to be banging on Freedom, though, and this is the worst case. You don't want to give Burning a kill, but going 1 for 1 in that situation, Tidehunter exchanged for a kill to go to Burning. He may get another one. HY bided his time, saved the waveform for the last minute, and as the dust settles, we're back to 2-2. Pretty even exchange once HY cleaned things up.
Burning actually canceled his blink animation right there because of the fact the Sand King turned around. He was actually going to blink forward, which is very uncharacteristic of an early game out of Burning. He usually knows his limits perfectly. Maybe he didn't think that there was enough mana on the Morphling to wait for him again because there was no way he was going to win that trade. I mean, it was very, very risky play, and ultimately it didn't pay out for him, and that's going to help Zenith a lot. I mean, those kills matter so much, especially in a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation when you're talking about experience and gold difference.
Yeah, when you're talking about the deaths, you've got one on Burning and one on Zippo now, as opposed to one on Freedom and one on XY. So that's a win for Zenith in the fact that HYHY has not gone down yet. And yeah, now just look at their posture again. When they were starting to feel defensive before, now after that exchange, they feel a little bit better about coming out to contend the pulls. And it's all going to be about this tri-lane versus tri-lane. The other lanes going just about as one would expect, really. You can see Super. Actually, Super's way deep here. So, banging on some creeps in the meantime. Back here, HYHY taking a lot of damage. Burning. Looked like he wanted to get aggressive. Attack. Broke off at the very last second there.
Is under attack.
But yeah, Invoker doing what he can. Had to back up and heal up. As you mentioned, the Psionic Blades can just be too much to deal with. 17 to 27 last hits tells that story as well. And now Super making his way to top. Has used the bottle, is using the bottle. And now we may see a little bit of aggression. Here we go. Loda's under the tower. Supa's been spotted. No follow-up from ROTK. So yeah, Super basically just ran up, looked, made a mean face, and is now heading back to mid.
And that kind of stuff does hurt. I mean, it's not huge by any means, but if he does it a couple of more times, then he's going to give Ice some time to farm up in the middle lane and bottom as well. HYHY is still farming okay. He's got 18 CS compared to the 15 of Animage, and as long as they stay relatively even, that's going to be fine if you're Zenith. The only problem is right now for DK is that top lane, ROTK does have 25 CS, but Loda is leading with 36, and this is what I was saying. I mean, a Lone Druid against a Darkseer, the Lone Druid actually does pretty good in this situation. He's abusing the fact that the bear can tank the Ion Shell, he can resummon it when it eventually does get low, and usually because the low levels of Ion Shell don't do that much sustained damage, it buys him enough time to keep resummoning the bear as long as he needs it.
Yeah, Super really doing an excellent job here in mid, as expected though. I mean, Invoker, especially an Exord Invoker, is gonna struggle. Just not gonna have the regen, and we're gonna have a pause. Hopefully no big technical issues, but while those get sorted out, how about we give a big hand for our last two teams of the night, DK and Zenith, live here in Seattle. And Draskell, it's a pleasure to be casting this last game of the night with you, buddy.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be casting for you guys, of course. And apparently somebody's key fell off, so that's not a good sign. But they apparently got it back in, so the game's going to be underway once again.
VLAD says, give me shout out, and you know what? I will give a shout out to VLAD so often. Hang on, buddy. XY taking some damage. HY is there. Anchor Smash doesn't do much. But yeah, VLAD, the hero of the International, too, has been solo casting for coming up on 85 days, apparently. I mean, the poor guy's been locked in there, and he's been doing an excellent job, so much love to you. Moving back to the game, ROTK blows a vacuum on Loda. Not much he can do except continue the harassment.
At this point in the game, I mean, DK's lanes are working out okay, they're just not working out great. And typically they want the Anti-Mage to get the most farm possible. The rest of his team is farming quite well. Of course, the TA is going to be beating an Invoker mid. We've seen that time and time again. No real surprise there. And then they have Darkseer, who's going to get some farm in, but he's not really beating the Lone Druid. So in terms of 2 carries versus 1 carry, they're coming out slightly ahead.
And Freedom taking a lot of damage here. Burning actually got a lot deeper in than I thought he would there. Went way deep in, right underneath the tower, just to burn the mana. Oh, and HY gets caught. There's, oh, wow. Nuke down by Long DD. The mana void from Burning did everything he needed it to do, just enough damage to allow things to lock themselves up. We're going to have another kill going to DK up at top. Back at bottom, XY can do nothing but stare on. Ice not in the best of shape. DK banging on the tier 1. Also banging on the tier 1 at top, just showing utter lane dominance. And it is going to drop, and we'll watch Burning take the last hit. There it is. Not what you want to give Anti-Mage. Not even at this early stage. He's just going to be that much closer to his Battle Fury.
It was really nice movement out of DK. There was a lull in ward vision from Zenith, so they had no idea that Super was coming up there. And obviously a TA with a Darkseer, they can dive pretty much any hero. Just between Refraction, Surge, Vacuum, there's no way you can juke. He can just destroy the trees. You can try to go up there, trap slow you by 50%. I mean, it's just ridiculously hard to get away from that combination, and obviously nobody from Zenith wanted to TP to it. And I mean, losing both towers like that, losing both of your carries too, I mean, that was a gigantic exchange in favor of DK.
DK taking a look at the gold graph. Already, a molehill becomes a mountain. 4,000 gold differential in 9.5 minutes. 6 kills on the board in 9.5 minutes. That's actually more activity than we've seen in a lot of these games. And again, I think that's owed a lot to the fact that there is so much on the line. This is win or go home time. There's no other bracket to fall to. If you lose this game, your run here in Seattle is done and over. And don't mistake professionalism for being an Ubermensch. These guys are going to feel that pressure no matter who they are, even if they are Burning or anyone else.
It's a really tough situation to be in for sure. I can't even imagine the kind of stress. And oh, Ice, middle lane's in trouble.
Oh, catches the meld, but the QQ walk is ready. He stays safe. The Ghost Walk on demand when he needed it most. And we see, and that is just good play. It's a small thing, but so often, whenever we see an Exort Invoker, we'll see them skip a Wex point until like level 10, or we'll see them just spend their mana 100% recklessly and not have enough to use the Ghost Walk when they need it the most. Ice, though, too experienced to make that mistake, and it saved him a death right there.
Yeah, it's just really good play overall. You can't ever assume when you're playing against a TA that you're going to be safe, and I think we've seen a couple of games where Exort Invokers kind of neglect that, and you pretty much just die because of it repeatedly. So because of the fact that, like you said, he has that experience, he's able to keep himself alive. And the one thing about DK's lineup that's going to get even more scary is that they've been doing this well without their Tide having Ravage. I mean, that's something that he's only level 5 at this point. He actually just hit it. So once it gets level 6, you're going to have to worry about Ravage on top of the aggression that they're already able to put out. And the thing that's really fascinating to watch about DK is even when you think that their team is defensive, they still manage to play aggressive sometimes and get the kills where they need them.
DK playing very aggressive, way in enemy territory right now. Ice, heading that way. He's got a pretty full mana bar, so he will be able to Ghost Walk if needed. Super long DD and ROTK looking to go ahead and apply some pressure here. They've basically given up on the Druid at the tier 2. Not a bad call. I mean, there's only so much you can do unless you just want to commit to a dive, and then you have TP reaction, what have you. This is the safe way to play. Take what is given to you, which is a free lane. TA's going to go ahead and bring that tower down so they continue to build on their lead. Burning left by himself for now, though, and we've got a squad of people from Zenith making their way down. Burning wisely turns around and decides it's time to get back to safety. 62 last hits on Loda. He's on top of the board, Burning at 50.
This is the part in the game where DK is going to continue to push their advantage because of the fact that the lanes did work out quite well for them. HY taking quite a bit of damage as well, but he should be okay, courtesy of that morph. Actually, he's going to get cut off here.
Oh, trying to morph the strength. There's a disruption now. Freedom's in trouble. HY brought back down. Big vacuum. That's a double kill. Goes the DK. In comes the Sunstrike. Does some damage, but it's not enough. Ice is going to drop as well. XY, the only one able to survive. And DK, their early game dominance, and now he's going to go ahead and move on XY again. How often have we seen Burning do this? When he feels he's at the advantage, he blinks aggressively, attacks aggressively, and if he thinks he has even a little help on the way, he will commit, and in that case, it nets them a bunch more kills.
DK's early game decision making just boggles my mind how good it is. They always know when they can engage. They always know exactly how to catch Zenith out of position in this game. And again, Tide didn't even have Ravage for that. They're basically just catching them completely off guard, getting kills whenever they can, and the early game is just all DK all the time at this point. The advantage at only 13 minutes, and this is going to update to be even higher, is 7,500 experience. We're going to see another fight bomb as well.
Oh, here comes the Ravage. XY in the front. Another big vacuum. And Zenith is just evaporating in a hail of damage coming out from Burning and DK. Oh, there's a good deafening blast, but he's going to be killed by long DD. Ice now joins the fight. Too little, too late. Sunstrike does some damage, but DK is just running roughshod over top of Zenith.
10-2 at 14 minutes in, and you're base diving. I don't think this is the game that anyone was expecting to see, especially with an Anti-Mage in your team. I mean, he's not known for being an amazing early game hero, but of course, being played by Burning, I mean, he's done a fantastic job. He did have that one death that was a little bit questionable, but other than that, he's been playing fantastic. Darkseer already has his mech finished. He's level 10. I mean, just the timing of everything coming up here for DK is working out flawlessly. I really feel like they're going to just continue to apply as much pressure as they possibly can. In comparison to the supports, I mean, Rubik is level 7. Tide is level 6, almost level 7, and Freedom from Zenith is level 4, and Sand is only level 5. So that just goes to show how big of a difference that the aggressive versus defensive tri-lane ended up to be.
Taking a look at the gold graph, we're at 14 minutes, 10,000 gold separates these two teams. To say DK is in control of their own fate might be a smidge of an understatement. And just continuing to be active on the map. We see them farming, certainly Burning now with his Battle Fury. And oh man, 14-minute Battle Fury and a try-on-try. He's at 65 last hits, 3 kills already. And Zenith, if they want to get into this, they got to do something quick. There's no sit back and let Lone Druid farm option left for them anymore. They're out of time.
Well, Burning having that Battle Fury, he actually picked up a Quelling Blade too on top of that just to be able to farm a little bit faster. It does matter quite a bit. It's 32% extra damage to creeps as long as you're melee. So it's going to help him just get more money faster, and I think that that kind of investment is what makes him one of the better carry players, is always having one of those on you when you're melee. Just lets you flash farm the jungle and get back to the lane a little bit quicker. But overall, I mean, this is DK's game to lose at this point. They are massively ahead. Like, it's not even close at this point. They're actually almost so far ahead that it's 1,000 golden experience per minute difference, which is basically like having 2 extra heroes on your team in terms of how much income you have in both those categories. So DK looking to push to tier 2, and I mean, Burning doesn't even have to help fight at this point. Oh man, big dive on Ice Ice Ice.
Ice 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 picked up. He's gonna go ahead and blow the QQ walk and hanging around, but DK in total control of the perimeter of this tier 2. And like you said, they don't even need Burning. They are that far ahead that they can fight 4-on-5 with nothing but supports in TA, especially when TA has a double damager inactive. That's scary no matter what. And yeah, I mean, he's kind of in the area, but not for long. He's just passing through as he picks up more and more gold. Again, 10-2, and just look at the posture from Zenith. This really says all that needs to be said. When it's 16 minutes and you're already backed up to your tier 3, scared to move out unless you're Loda, yeah, you're in trouble.
Well, if you want to just do a quick comparison between the Anti-Mage who is in the tri-lane from DK and the items that Morphling has, who is in the tri-lane from Zenith, I think that pretty much tells the story of the game.
Yeah. Ring of Basilisk, Boots Bottle versus Battle Fury, Poor Man's Shield, etc., etc. DK takes another free tier 2. Absolutely no contention whatsoever. We're at 16 minutes, still short of 17. They're going for Roche. And there's nothing Zenith can really do. There's no outer tier towers available for them to teleport to. They don't have any option. Loda's hanging out. He can't even really farm at this point. He brings the bear back. He's got the relic up, but it's a relic. It's a 17-minute relic, not a Radiance.
I mean, it's going to hurt them for sure, and the fact that they do have a TA means that Meld kills Roshan extremely fast. They're actually just going to give the Aegis to the TA instead of Burning, probably because Burning is going to be spending most of his time split pushing at this point. And I mean, in all honesty, it's going to be really difficult for Zenith to come back. Even if this game does stretch out, they do have 2 carries, but HY is so far behind right now in comparison to what the Anti-Mage has. I just don't know if he can actually recover fast enough for it to really make a difference. The one thing that Zenith has going, again, they do have an Invoker. He's pretty good at base defense, but he's Exort, so it's not like he has EMP or Tornado up to a high rank to where it's going to be effective in defending the base. The Radiance is going to be a little bit slow here on Loda. He will have it in about 550 gold, so that's going to help. But I mean, just the way the tri-lane worked out, top went probably better than expected for Zenith. The Lone Druid came out a little bit ahead, but every other lane, like mid and bottom, they just really couldn't do anything. And when, like we talked about, if you have an aggressive tri-lane that can't get kills, that can't play aggressive and keep Burning from getting his early game, he's going to completely run over you with an Anti-Mage.
Burning, doing his dirty business, has almost caught up to Lone Druid. 101 last hits at 18 minutes in. Setting up shop here in mid. Every single tower remains standing for DK. Not a single tower remains standing for Zenith. Zenith, a team many expected great things out of coming into this tournament, and they went deeper than most. But now, perhaps, they've run into an object they're not going to be able to move, and DK's burning.
DK just continuing to apply pressure here. Mithril Hammer picked up by the TA as well. Might go for a BKB, might go for a Desolator. I'm kind of leaning towards a BKB just for the safer route, and I know that DK is not the kind of team that's willing to throw away an advantage just because you want a little bit of a better aggressive item choice. I think that BKB is pretty much going to be for sure what he gets. And again, I mean, HY, the poor guy, he just doesn't have any farm. I mean, he's got 55 CS. Burning is doubling his farm right now, and they were in the same lane. When you talk about committing things to heroes, you say, okay, we're going to try lane bottom. Our goal is for HY to be at least even with Burning, and the tri-lane just did not work out at all. The reason that they protected that lane and the reason that TA kept ganking top is because of the fact that they knew that Zenith was putting a lot of emphasis on that morph lane. So they just abused that, and they caught people off guard, outplayed, maybe a little bit outlaned, but not so much. More so the fact his decision-making from DK was a little bit too good.
Just look at how aggressive DK is right now. DK is everywhere in the Dire jungle. Just completely in control of the map to that point. Zippo down at the tier 1 bottom. Finally, we see Zenith showing themselves a little bit. TPs will be in order if such is their choice. The Exort choice on Ice Ice Ice, you can't blame him, but it could be, it basically ensured that he wasn't going to do well against TA. There's just no way for him to hang and bang in mid whenever he had so few points into quads. Now going to go ahead and TP out. He's got a decent amount of points in the quads, but again, with Wex being relied upon, of course, to ensure you have EMP at your disposal as well as other spells to try and keep DK at bay. DK moving back. We see the Radiance on the bear, and it looks like they're just waiting. Calm before the storm here.
Well, TA did opt to go for a Desolator. I really thought he was going to go BKB. I guess he's feeling confident in the fact that with that Aegis, I mean, Meld plus Desolator is going to hurt a lot no matter what hero you are. Even if you're Loda at this point, he almost has enough minus armor to completely negate the armor that Loda has, which as a lone druid is typically pretty high. I mean, DK is going to get farther and farther ahead. The problem, when you lose all your map control against a team with an Anti-Mage, that's like worst case scenario. There are a couple of heroes who can abuse it, but Anti-Mage is literally the best hero in terms of flash farming around the map and abusing the fact that you don't have any way of stopping him. He's going to farm or out-farm everyone by miles the more time he gives.
Zenith doing everything they can to try and farm themselves back into this game, but yeah. Goldgraph says that's a losing battle. 15,000 coming up on 20,000 gold, separating these two teams. DK feeling as if they're only moments away from advancing and free. There used to be a Shadow Demon right there. I don't know where he went, but he disappeared. I think we need to call Gabe. There's a glitch in the game because he disappeared just literally in front of our face.
Unfortunately, he did not know that Super had a Desolator, and when you have a Desolator against a Shadow Demon who's only level 5 with 3 base armor, I'm pretty sure you die in about 1 hit. So, 11-2 in favor of DK, as they're going to continue to try to push down. But even HY takes a ton of damage just from the supports, basically, of DK at this point, and because the fact that Darkseer has Pipe and Mech finished at 22 minutes with his Soul Ring boots and 1,000 extra gold on top of that. Everyone on DK is ridiculously farmed. There's 3 heroes actually on their team at this point with over 110 CS.
Double damage rune just picked up by TA. I really, really want to see a team fight now. ROTK just kind of rattling the saber here in mid lane, making their presence known. DK again has really not crossed back onto their side of the river for anything but incidentals in a long time. They've just been in complete control of the map, and all Zenith has been able to do is farm at the throne. DK just waiting for the right moment. The Blink Dagger is also up on Zippo. That came up moments ago. So they're going to have that initiation as needed. Burning continues to fill his inventory. He's already got 2,000 more gold, as well as the Manta, of course the Battle Fury, and yeah, he just doesn't care at this point. He can just take the farm away from Loda at the throne. He feels like he's under no threat. Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and rush in. He is going to blink back now. Here comes the DD. HY forced the waveform away. Super chunking away. There's the refraction. Just going to tank the tower a bit, doing what damage he can. Using refraction just to buy them time to take what little advantage. And this is such a sign of a professional, disciplined team. DK has to feel as if they could win this game at any point almost. but what they're doing is nibbling. They're not overcommitting and giving Zenith a chance to take a big win. We see Super just using the refraction, dancing up and down the stairs just to nibble at this tower and bring it down essentially for free. That is amazing discipline on a stage this big when the excitement and the adrenaline has got to be through the roof.
It is definitely one of the most patient calls I've seen, and I'll be honest, even if DK rushed down mid and ran past the tower, I don't even know if Zenith could really defend against it. They have one basic guaranteed stun and a disruption unless the bear gets any roots off. So with that being said, they don't have anything to stop Super. I mean, he doesn't have that much HP, but refraction's enough to really keep him alive. They don't have any sustained like damage over time abilities that are going to eat his refract that much. But he doesn't also have to play aggressive at all. He can continue to get bigger, get a bigger gold advantage, and with the Desolator, he's going to kill the tower relatively fast because it does work on building, so that might be part of the reason why he decided to get it in the first place. But even Rubik, I mean, to support Rubik, 4-staff, Arcane Boots, earn full wand. He's level 10. He has Waveform stolen as well for the next team fight. I mean, DK, I mean, I don't think they can lose in this game.
Beautiful blink away and a side trap just as a hello and a pat on the back. Nice try, buddy. Not quick enough. And yeah, DK remaining so patient. And all this time, by the way, Animage has just been free farming. He's been split pushing and allowing Super to do that. But now, I mean, just back to free farming. Sitting on 212 CS at 25 minutes. Just about as good as you could ask for. 156 for Drew. It's not awful, but it's in nowhere near the same ballpark they need it to be.
The problem is, if this game goes on longer, normally you would say that, well, yeah, Zenith has 2 carries, so they're going to be able to come back eventually, but they're not getting as much gold as DK is. They're not able to farm their jungle at all. They're only able to farm the waves that come to their base, and Animage is just abusing the fact that he's so mobile and just being everywhere that he's getting much more CS than even the next 2 heroes of Zenith are at this point. He'll eventually just pass them all, maybe even combined at this point.
We see the rush down on the tier 1 bottom. Loda, XY leading the way. There was a smoke attempt, but to no avail. DK nowhere to be found. Hey, why would they be on their own side of the river? They got stuff to do on the Dire side. And again, they are just so aggressive. They are aggressive in a cautious way. They have very aggressive positioning, but again have remained completely patient until now. Burning has decided he's done farming. The fun is over. Time to fight. He's banging on the tower and takes it down. Tier 3 gone. DK still in fighting shape. TA took a bit of damage there. Now going to work on that melee Rax. Bear's there with the Radiance Burn. Burning does not much care at this point. Battle Fury, Manta, Poor Man's Shield. 4,200 gold just hanging out. Just hanging out in the bank. Could go buy BKB right now, not care. Rushing again. Here we go. Vacuum's going to catch XY. Brought down, but manages to make it back, and here we go. Long DD manages to steal. I think he stole the morph. Yes, he did. Didn't get the waveform, but hey, can be tanky. A lot of tap dancing going on. HY gets a bit far out there, takes a gush. Able to make it back to safety. And DK just going to slow push this to death, it would seem. Spamming that Fade Bolt. His long DD. The melee Rax just isn't, they can't stand. They have to engage. Another big vacuum. There we go. Ravage going to catch Loda and Ice. And whoa, look at the damage. XY, the third to drop now. Ice and Freedom making a run. Oh, TA dealing out the pain. HY's back in the fight though. And here comes the Epi. He is going to get it off. Dies immediately, but the Epicenter continues to go off. Burning now in a bit of trouble. Banging away, manages to blink just barely away. So Zenith manages to kind of pay back the favor, but in reality, it may be too little too late as they lost a set of racks before they could do so.
They lost a set of racks and they basically had every single person on their team who died buyback. I mean, that's probably the worst way to win a fight, but at the end of the day, if that's all you can do, then that's all you can do. Zenith might actually be able to take Roche after that happened because they do still have the bear alive, but it's quite low, so he's going to have to send it back to base to heal first. And another thing, too, that DK, the timing of that push, Roshan spawned while they were fighting, so Templar Assassin actually didn't even get to revive. The Aegis was pretty much worthless at that point. I think they tried to force an engagement around knowing that he would be up again, but it didn't happen, so Roshan's going to be alive, and I think that if Zenith takes it, it's going to help them for the next team fight. But again, the advantage for DK is just monstrous. Like, it's almost 25,000 golden experience difference at 28 minutes into the game.
Yeah, only so much you can do against a handicap that large. can't really call it a handicap because DK damn well earned it. Just look at how fat ROTK is. Vanguard, Mex, Pint, Soul Ring. Still has a body's tier 2 boots today. You're Dark Seer. You can get around. Going to work now on Roche. And yeah, Zenith just hanging around. Hanging back at base. Doing really about all they can. I mean, they might maybe take a tier 1. Perhaps they will. Yes, they will take their second tier 1 tower of the match. DK. Not going to mind that loss too terribly much. Go ahead, kill off Roche. Who picked it up? TA. They put it on TA once again. Burning. Confident that he can survive on his own. Not going to need the Aegis. Now moving towards bottom lane. The pushing continues out of XY and Ice. And this is good Dota. They're going to have to TP home, but may as well get something for it. Burning, though. Making short work of this tower. Already almost down. And oh, wow. Super nukes down the Shadow Demon. Burning's there as well. Up goes the bear. Down he comes, stunning HY. Tower's already down. And yeah, I mean, they're trying to do what they can. XY is going to die to a Fade Bolt. Good route on long DD. Still not enough. Doing what damage they can, but it seems like every time they take a step forward to throw a punch, they receive a knockout. Even the bear can't stand up to the damage output of TA at this point. Down goes the second melee Rax. And it may be drawing close to the end of Zenith's run here at TI2. DK just slowly pulls out. Gonna TP back, stabilize the map, and then make a run at that third set of racks.
How many times have we seen this tournament where a team runs an aggressive tri-lane and it just doesn't accomplish enough? I really feel like that's where this game went wrong. Of course, the TA is going to have some lane dominance over an Invoker, but the problem is not only did they commit a lot to that tri-lane, but they win an X or an Invoker, so they were definitely looking for kills. They wanted to get the Sunstrike combination off with the Sand King, and that's their goal for the early game. I mean, that's the only way to keep that hero down.
Gonna see Loda picked up by by Long DD. He's gonna be locked down, and down the big bear goes.
You died of thanks.
DK pouring it on, 19-4. Gold lead. Pretty sure it's gonna crack through the top of that graph soon enough.
I'll be honest, I mean, I didn't expect the game to be this one-sided, but wow. The Sentry GG coming out middle lane.
Classy move comes out from Zenith as they take their exit from the International. And DK on the back of their legend, of their leader, Burning, is going to prolong their stay here in Seattle for at least 24 more hours. DK, a team that many thought could peak at the right time coming into this tournament, has shown that they're able to hang with the best of them. Zenith was in the winner's bracket at the onset of play today. They fall completely out of the tournament now.
Unfortunate to see Zenith take their leave, but no shame in losing to a team who is as good as DK is. Once again, they showed why they are at the International, why they're going to continue their run here, like you said, Elise, for another day. Here they are. DK taking out Zenith in the International.
DK getting the job done. In the good manner, Loda, the first out the door to shake their hands. There goes the Ancient, and put it in the books. Day number 2 of the International draws to a close with DK prevailing in our last match of the day. I'm AC. I've been joined by the broadcast for Draskell. Let's throw it back one last time to the analyst desk.
Okay, then thank you, AC and Draskell, for all your commentary today, and also congratulations there to DK taking out Zenith in the final game. I'm losing my voice, but it's okay. I just sound sexier, I promise. My voice matches Bruno's chest hair. That's all that matters.
Wow. Can I make up the bald spot then of the person? We should probably use God's teeth.
Okay.
That we should.
Can't use mine in English.
Oh, all right.
Sad end to Zenith campaign.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, they're the elder statesmen, man. HY is a gentleman and an awesome person. It's really awesome to have an adult and like just a genuine, classy man running a Dota team like that. I mean, he's a fantastic person, and we need more people like him in the Dota community.
So for you guys, where did it all go wrong for Zenith or right for DK? Tri-lane?
I feel Zenith, the tri-lane is one thing, but I feel Zenith, they had a lot of farm-dependent heroes with the Bear, the Morphling, as well as the Invoker. There was just not enough farm to be split between these three heroes.
Yeah, and of course, DK are going to be super happy. They'll be moving on into the top 4 and also playing tomorrow. And let's see if they're super happy. Let's get some emotions from our last interview today with ROTK.
好，各位观众朋友们，大家好，我是精灵。经过了一天漫长的比赛之后呢 ，DK 战队是在最后的一场比赛中，终于是战胜了东南亚的强力对手 Zenith。那站在我身边的这名选手呢，是来自于 DK 战队的 ROTK。你好，
大家好，我是 ROTK。
那 ROTK 此刻的心情如何呢？能给我们简单分析一下刚才那场比赛吧？
我觉得上盘的比赛就怎么说吧，团队的发挥比较好吧。 然后，所以最后取得胜利，现在心情，当然也比较好嘛。
好的。那么在明天的比赛中呢，也是继续要迎战来自于我们中国的战队那今天晚上是否会来备课一下，研究一些录像等等，来100%努力为明天做准备？
这是必须的，就像当时Navi研究我们队一样，研究得很透彻。我们今晚也会研究明天所有的对手。
好的，那么也是感谢 ROTK 的采访，希望明天的比赛中也能够一帆风顺，谢谢。Back to James.
No, back to you, Anderson.
We need more Anderson on this broadcast.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, we do.
Can we just get him in here?
I think we're going to get lots more of Anderson, just because of...
3 of the top 4 are Chinese.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're going to have a whole lot of Anderson tomorrow, so if you like Anderson...
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it back to
Purge is going to have to learn Chinese by tomorrow, I believe.
Sorry?
Purge is going to have to learn Chinese by tomorrow?
Yeah, he'd do it. I have faith. You want to see some highlights?
I'd love to see some highlights.
You two weren't even at the desk, so you really need to see some highlights.
I watched the entire game.
I did watch the whole.
Backstage.
Me and Lumi watched most of the game.
There's no preview monitor in the bathroom, guys. I've checked. Let's check out the highlight video.
So, James, as you were the only one who watched it, it's all yours.
Yeah, please do this analysis, James.
So basically, what's happening here is lots of spiky things coming out of the ground, bit of a wall. Everything's very confusing right now, but Burning knows what's up.
Burning probably does know what's up.
Yeah, he does know what's up. He's like, chill the fuck out, guys. I've got this. And as you can see, he's got it.
He does indeed.
Boom.
All of Zenith
and even when they're trying to kill him,
look at that.
Look at that.
Blink. Blink's really, it's a really fair skill.
Uses the flying ability there.
It makes perfect it makes perfect sense that such an insane DPS single target damage carry should have a 1 second blink cooldown.
Well, he's more balanced than Morphling, I'm just going to say that. I'm glad to see Anti-Mage for once. And Morphling actually going down there. I mean, we mentioned the sort of very heavy farmers having all 3 of those. And also Sanking, I mean, as in a support role, he's a hero who needs a farm. He wants to get that blink there. It just did not happen.
I just want to say, by the way, as well, just to confirm how right Bruno is, the stat man, the whole time. You guys both said Zenith was going to win. Bruno said it was DK and Burning.
Yes. There's no beating the stat man. I concede.
If you can't beat them, join them, man. We must all become...
I can't count. It's actually true.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to say something really rude then, but I shouldn't.
I cut you off so hard.
No, you didn't cut me off at all. It was perfect.
Oh. We'll put it in the text chat.
No, we're almost done here, guys. I hope you enjoyed day 2. So let's go have a look then at the lower bracket as we get ready to wrap up the show. So we lost, unfortunately, 4 early on. We started with 12, Dara, CLG,